Oh God, please.
Oh,
Oh
gosh,
God.
yeah.
Oh God. Put the lid back on.
Why is this stuck?
Put the lid back on. I'm afraid it's gonna go all over you.
Wouldn't be bad in your hair.
I just washed my hair. Oh my word.
What did you do to this?
What did you do to this?
This is crazy. Oh,
We've never had
I found it. I got it. Squash season. Gourds, pumpkins, butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, this squash, pickleball. No, wait, that's different. I actually, this is my favorite time of year for making soups. I love maple, acorn, roasted squash, but butternut squash soup is one that I think people avoid making because they feel like it's complicated. They don't know what to do with it. So what do we do with this, right? Like, what do we do? I don't know what to do. Well, you start by cutting it right at the point at which kind of the balls of the squash live to the neck. That was a horrible analogy, but I'm just gonna break this down. Now you wanna be careful, right? Because this is where your knife can roll off of it. One of the things I like to do is just break this into 2 pieces, and then I'll use the knife to peel the exterior, right? So just take your knife down here. You could use a peeler, but it might be somewhat difficult. And I'm just gonna cut this into big old hunks, all right? Just rough chop this. We're gonna blend this up so the size doesn't matter, but I'll just do like a large dice on all these pieces. All right, so. Now, this is an interesting vessel. If you want, you can scoop these out and actually just roast these whole as is. And you could stuff a salad, you could stuff chicken, you could stuff anything inside the squash. And the same applies for like an acorn squash. Cut it down the center, slice out the insides, stuff it, roast it, or roast it first and then stuff it, whatever you want to do. So I'm just gonna scoop some of this out. All right, so this is 1 butternut squash. So this produces a lot, and a butternut squash is not that expensive. So this is a pretty economical meal. And I'm just gonna hit this with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. You could use butter, although I do want this to roast at a little bit of a higher temperature, so I don't necessarily want the butter solids, the milk solids in the butter to burn. I'm gonna finish with butter, so that's important. I'm gonna salt this. I am gonna use pepper here because I'm not searing this, right? So it's not gonna get that incredibly high heat finish at the end, so the pepper's not necessarily gonna burn. This will toast and it'll make it a little bit more aromatic. I'm now gonna stick this into a 350-degree oven. I'm gonna roast it until it's tender, so roughly 18 to 20 minutes. You wanna make sure that you don't overload your pan. If I had double this amount of squash, I wouldn't pile it on this pan because then what's gonna happen is that it's just gonna steam. You wanna make sure that they're evenly layered and that there's a little bit of space in between them so that they can caramelize on the pan. Where the squash caramelizes, that's the flavor that's gonna be brought out in the soup. We want that sweeter texture, that roasted flavor to be brought out in the soup. So that's important right there. But while the squash are roasting in the oven, I'm gonna start to make the base of the soup, which is really simple. I've actually got some apple cider, right? So Honeycrisp cider. You know, I'm just thinking roughly, let's do all of it, right? So I'll do this full liter of cider. Break out my trusty spork. Everything I do is with a spork. Whatever happened to the spork? I mean, I feel like this is an underutilized utensil. All right, so I got some miso that I'm gonna mix in there. A little bit of ginger. Now, how do we peel ginger? You can use the back of a knife, easiest way, or you can use the side of a spoon. Oh my gosh, I love peeling ginger because this is the most aromatic vegetable, tubular, whatever you want to call it. When people cook with ginger, they have the tendency to use too much ginger, and ginger can be really bitter. Anybody who's taken one of those ginger shots at the local market knows how nasty too much ginger can be. I'm gonna microplane the ginger just right into the soup. And the reason why I do this is because ginger is very fibrous, and I don't want those fibers to get in there and kind of rip the soup up. It's just not a good mouthfeel, so here we go. All right, so right here I got apple cider, miso, and fresh ginger. Now this is where you can have fun. Once again, cooking is nothing more than improvisation. I'm giving you guys the foundation upon which you can build your own flavors. Think of it as like a jazz standard. So I've got those 3 ingredients in here. If you wanted to do roasted garlic, you could. If you wanted to add chicken stock, you could. If you want to make this ultra meaty, you can even fold in some pork drippings, beef fat, whatever you want, right? So use this to add whatever flavor you want to make it your own. All right, so our butternut squash has probably been cooking for about 15 minutes, but what I wanna do now is I wanna pull it, I wanna move them around so that they're not just cooking hard on one side, because I want all sides to be kind of caramelized. But you'll start, this is what you want right there, is you want that nice caramelized exterior. All right, we're gonna pull these butternut squash. Oh, now that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Lauren has entered the chat. Get all that flavor country off the pan right there.
What are we doing here?
Butternut squash soup. So let's start scooping I'll do this, ready? We're just gonna scoop the butternut squash into a blender here. You can do this in a food mill. You can do it with an immersion wand. Those immersion hand wands, we should probably get one of those. We've got like
We have 2.
We have them here.
Yes.
Well,
Come on.
we have to.
Everybody has one of those drills.
I just used it the other day to make mayonnaise. Remember?
You didn't have me make the mayonnaise? You didn't do it by hand? I'm very disappointed.
I was in a rush. Kids needed sandwiches for school.
Okay.
Okay.
At least we know she's making fresh mayonnaise. Just, yeah, we're gonna go about halfway up with the liquid, okay? And now we're just going to start to blend it. At this stage, we got butternut squash puree, right? So this is just like beautifully rich, flavored butternut squash. Well, the way in which we're gonna take it to a soup is we're gonna actually finish this with a little bit of heavy cream.
Okay, what if somebody wants to be on the healthier side? They would just use stock or something?
If they wanna be healthy, then just use butter.
Just use butter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I'm serious. Like, should
Stock. You can use stock.
they? I'm like,
Oh, we had a little accident. So now we've got this to the consistency that we want. I mean, it's a nappe, right? You see how it's just kind of hanging off the back of that spoon? It's the perfect soup consistency, but now we gotta taste it, right? So you wanna grab a spoon of, what do you, Neanderthal?
we're standing
I cannot
here.
believe that.
We're the. Oh, look at you! You put your little spoon.
I set up some spoons. I mean, I'm getting fancy and
All right,
organized
let me
over
try
here. Yep, that's it.
That's it.
So simple. You pick up the ginger on that, and that cider vinegar is in the background, but it's like, really, it's more of a shadow.
Yeah, it's a nice little, you know, I don't know, what it kind of coats your mouth at the end.
It is velvety. It's velvety. It's almost like New England fall apple orchards just sat down on your face. All right, so the soup is finished. It's rich, it's velvety. It's got the mouthfeel of eating just a big old bag of melted chocolate, but it's butternut squash, so butternut squash chocolate. Jump in, save me here.
I don't know where you're. I was trying to follow along.
Yeah, well, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. But so this is the foundation, and what I like to do, like, you can do a little bit of braised pork on top of this. You can actually mix this in with like chicken or risotto. You can finish it with like a creme fraiche. You can add spice to this, kimchi. Use this as a sauce as well. Like, I mean, there's just so many different directions you can go in. But having a quart or two of this in your refrigerator from October, November, December, I think kill it after December.
I think October, November.
So give me
perfect.
12 weeks. This is your 12-week soup
And
right
you can
here.
also freeze this, right?
Oh yeah, freeze it.
Freeze it, store it, heat it up when
Yep.
you want something nice
Yep.
and warm and fuzzy and cozy. So good.
I'm out of here.
Goodbye.